play Shaco in the LPL. Like, this man goes into the depths that you don't expect him to, so there is going to be so much that he's able to bring to the table.
I feel like if you're going this, I don't believe it. I believe this more, but I am really, really worried about how the early levels are going to go. You don't have the rocket jump. You don't have the safety of a spell shield if Sivir wasn't banned. You don't have a lot of those tools. Shyvana, I don't think so. My understanding is that the Sylas ult stealing the Shyvana ult is crazy good, so I would be surprised if he went that way, but I'm not as familiar with the interaction.
No, it's a ton of damage. Like, you can one-shot 3 people in insane fashion.
And you get the fear as well.
Yeah, exactly,
like,
This would make more sense.
Kanavi Nidalee in Game 5.
The Renekton is still up. Renekton Nidalee.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a Game 5 Renekton Nidalee. They're going to go for it because, Renekton is still up and available, wasn't banned, and was not picked. And that is the throwback. Wait. I would be out. Okay.
Wow.
No, it's not. It's the Aatrox instead for Zeus in the final game.
I'm shocked. I think he thinks it's the Shen top.
Exactly. I was going to say.
Aatrox is way better into Shen, but I think this is going to be a Shen jungle now, and I think they're going to give the counter pick to Dokla.
The Shen jungle is tough, though, against the Nidalee. Your clear speed is just not that good. I think, you kind of, like, yes, you will have the matchups to try and play around, but I think Nidalee can just take your jungle so quickly, especially your go low on that first clear.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, but you're balancing a lot of different things now, right?
Yeah.
So now you are betting your Game 5 on what I believe.
The LCK to a Game 5. Once more inspired, must try and find the success on the Xin Zhao to keep the NA train rolling. The Daejeon doubters have been there, but this would be a story for the history books.
I mean, it would. It would be a run where you have now beat 4 #1 seeds at MSI as NA. They took down Furia. They took down TSW. They took down G2. If you win here, you have knocked out 4 of the other 5 #1 seeds from the tournament. The only one remaining would be the one waiting in the finals in BLG. It would be unequivocally the greatest performance we have ever seen from an NA team.
But it's a lot easier said than done. You're talking about HLE. You're talking about the #1 seed of the LCK. You're talking about players who individually have so many accomplishments. People talk about playing with the nameplates off, but the nameplates are still there. Nice pull coming out from Delight onto Isles nice and early, but Gumayusi has also already taken some trade damage.
Exactly, and the level 1 there, a little bit tough for Blitz, and they just play in the wave, they get the shove, they utilize that range support advantage here, so even though the hook comes down, it's not that much threat, but Saint, he's going to have to hold on as well, a master of these melee matchups here. Zeus taking a horrible trade.
Yeah, Dokla hits the taunt, brings the Aatrox down to 200 HP.
And look at the pathing from Inspired. 3 camp into this top side. Could look for the potential play or just an invade off the back of this.
I mean, Dokla could kill him solo. Taunt Flash kills, I think, at this HP. It is close, though. Zeus did pop his pot and has healed up. Dokla, I don't think, going to want to send it on a Taunt Flash, but we are seeing an early base from Inspired, so he's going to go for that early base here and try to be there, likely to cover bot.
Yep, exactly. It's the plan where you clear one side of your jungle, you make your first purchase. Usually you see Longsword being the choice on that one. Instead, going to go for the Ruby Crystal. Dokla goes in, finds the taunt yet again. Zeus trying to get away there, but Dokla brings him down to 100 HP. This Shen matchup going well for LYON here early on.
I mean, this is brilliantly played from Dokla. The easiest part of the matchup is the early levels. It really does get difficult as you get more points in that queue for Zeus, and as the cooldowns become shorter and shorter, those windows of opportunity are very hard for Shen. And if you ever get knocked out of your taunt, it is a disaster. If you get hit by a sweet spot as you're taunting in, you are trapped there, you are chased down by the Infernal Chains, and that is where it can become so tough. But Dokla laning brilliantly to start things off, and he has a better buy as an advantage. Gets that refillable plus that Ruby Crystal.
And holds on to the TP crucially as well, so very big start for the LYON top laner. Already we're seeing kind of movement here from Saint just to make sure that the Scuttle Crab went to Inspired, but Kanavi happy to handshake that on the top end. Is giving Berserker a bit of time to push in on the bot side as well, get his own reset. So a slower pace early game, favoring LYON thus far.
Yeah, it absolutely is. The question is, how much do you have to give, and how much can you give to be able to have a good chance in the team fights, right? LYON have to be able to make that judgment. If the lanes just continue as is, this is fantastic for them, but HLE are going to look for plays. You've got Nidalee, you've got Blitz, and Saint respecting.
Yep, Saint does not want to get caught off guard by Kanavi here. Also worth pointing out, I want to shout out the exhaust on Berserker. I feel like against Kalista, where so much of her damage comes from that big blast from Lend, a properly timed exhaust can turn a fight.
I agree completely. I mean, he used it very effectively in his Ezreal games, and not even just the Kalista, but it's great on Kanavi, it's great on Zeus, it's great on Zeka.
Ooh, nice pull from Delight. It doesn't turn into a whole lot, but he still gets a good chunk of damage there on Berserker as Gumayusi hits him with the Pierce at the very end.
Yeah, not the end of the road for Berserker. Kind of knew that Gumayusi wasn't that far away, so doesn't burn anything to make that play extended or defended, so just manages to step away. And I think this is where, again, if Gumayusi and Delight get some poke, not the end of the world. You've got the pots, you can heal it up. It's more a case of if Kanavi ends up down on that bot side and you get a good hook, that's immediately into the spear, and that can be the devastating play.
Or if you're overextended, you get too far up in that lane, and then all of a sudden you get hooked in, you get chased down, the spears are stacked, and Kanavi is going to be on his way down towards this bot side. That vision plant was hit by Delight, so they don't know. He could actually hook over the wall potentially here. Isles maybe sussing it out, but if he gets too close, he could just be dead.
Yup, they're waiting for the minions to pass. Delight still waiting there, fires off the hook, and he grabs himself Isles! HLE! They don't find the kill. Isles stays alive with a heal and the flash, and he'll be able to walk it off. Now back in the mid lane, Saint trying to get something onto Zeka, but he's level 5 against level 6. The Ignite prevents the Kingslayer from doing a lot of healing. Saint's out of health, out of mana. Saint just trying to style on him a little bit as Delight rotates back over. Saint's feeling it, but he's got to be careful.
Saint knew he needed to go for the all-in with the Ignite down. It would have been lights out if he ended up trying to step away, but gets the heal, gets the trade, and gets to go back.
And I mean, surviving there for Saint is so massive. That is Zeka's ult and flash down.
Yeah, but now Berserker forced to flash as Delight uses his own to threaten a grab. Berserker staying safe, but down to 200 HP without that summoner spell is dicey.
I mean, Saint down in farm big time now. So now these gold leads starting to open up a bit here. Inspired wants to go for the early dragon, knowing that it is going to be a reset for Delight and that Zeka has no ignite, no ult, but instead deciding to pull off it here once again.
And Azael, you talked about how all these lanes early on are going to be losing matchups for the side of LYON. HLE up to a few hundred gold of an early laning advantage. The biggest difference here in mid lane, 60 to 44 in terms of farm count, as Zeka has been controlling this head-to-head. Obviously, as the game goes forward, Saint is going to look to be the X factor in the team fights.
Yeah, exactly. And Saint is going to be getting stronger and stronger here. Guma and Delight looking.
Yeah, Delight goes right on in, just walks up and knocks Berserker up into the air, but a beautiful handshake coming out from Isles. The Shen ulti stand united, but Berserker is first blooded by Delight. Dokla couldn't complete the ulti because he's interrupted by Zeus. HLE coming out on top.
The interruption from Zeus turns everything. It looked like LYON might have been able to find the play, but it's the missed time on the ulti, denies the revive, denies the follow-up. It's nearly a hook onto Isles as well.
Yeah, HLE, that is so big for them now. You get that kill. Fortunately for LYON, the gold did go to Delight, but it's a 1.4k gold lead here already.
Yeah.
He knew it was going to be hard to withstand this onslaught, and they just play this out very well. He goes out into that alcove, Hex Flash over, gets straight in onto Berserker, and you go to live, and this is what the Shen versus Aatrox match usually looks like. You are stuck under your tower, and Goom was able to flash out with no health.
But you can see just barely
Bailout.
the bailout doesn't come through, and I think it was a little mistimed. He had that Shen ultimate come through at the same time as the bailout, so not quite able to make it happen. It was a good flash away from Gumayusi to turn the tides.
Yeah, it's hard to know in those situations, you know, in that panic moment. Did he use it too early? Was he worried about that Rend coming through a little bit quicker and maybe getting that kill? And now Dokla. This is where it gets so tough. You get stuck under your tower, and you get the melees for free, but every time you try to farm a range minion in this matchup, you are just... it's fish in a barrel. He's just throwing Qs on the range minions over and over and over, and slowly but surely, Aatrox just builds a bigger and bigger lead. And it really is one of my least favorite Shen matchups, I think, in the game.
I know you play a lot of Shen.
They are trying to move him out of the matchup, though, and rotate Xayah up into this top end. Actually, just going to... HLE going to not swap into it either. Kind of moving everyone up to fight for these Void Grubs.
Yep, you can see, though, you've still got Gumayusi on the bottom side of the rift. Dokla also taking up his position down there, but he's got no stand united, he's got no teleport, so he won't be able to join for any sort of a fight, so HLE will continue to own the grubs.
There's the charm hook.
Beautiful charm, and the follow-up with a grab. Zeka looking to make the play here on Saint, but he steals the Ari ulti back over the Spirit Rush over the wall. Comes inspired, they get the kill, and Saint stays alive.
LYON sends up a prayer, and Saint will answer, and now Guma fighting Dokla.
Yeah, Dokla going in after this. Kalista needs a little bit more damage, but he cannot find it. Gumayusi already using the Rend. Down to 150 HP, but he stays alive as Delight rejoins his carry.
Great trade for Dokla, though, because it means he gets to push in this wave. You've got the reset for the Kalista, and actually movement from line towards this top side. Delight just trying to stop this wave from crashing.
Yeah, Delight going to be trying to be as annoying as possible. Dokla wants a plate, and I think he will be able to get it. And so he gets that plate, and if Dokla can get towards that Titanic, that starts to mitigate a lot of the difficulties in these matchups because your wave clear becomes so powerful at that point.
You can see here, though, with Saint just underneath the tower. They think they have it with the charm, with the knock-up, but immediately Saint steals the old double dashes, and Zeka overextending with Inspired there to support the mid laner.
And watch Inspired in that moment. He has the presence of mind. He preps the Q3 knockup on the birds over the wall, flashes in, and immediately knocks up Zeka. Saint survives. They get that kill, and that is just so critical. Because you're already down 1.5k, you're trying to hold on. That is the objective here for LYON.
And Zeka has been such a playmaker for his teams in Game 5s. 9-2 in Game 5s. We've seen him win World Championships from this position, but Saint and Inspired able to stop him in his tracks there.
All right, Delight still potentially looking for angles down here in the bottom side. Kanavi is going to join up with his bottom lane duo, but Inspired is also in the area. Keep your eyes on Delight here.
This is a dangerous moment for LYON. Look at the top side of the map. 3 completed items for HLE, none until just now for Inspired. They are at their weakest right now.
And Zeus is looking strong here in this 1v1, continuing to find multiple good trades against Dokla. Kanavi with his Lich Bane can chew through this dragon so easily, and HLE, again, it's not a fast first Drake, but it's an HLE first Drake.
But a slow first Drake is all that LYON want. Inspired here to cover the play. They want to cover everything from HLE. Will be Kanavi backing away. But as long as you keep this pace, I think you're kind of happy as LYON. Sure, it's a 1.7k gold lead, but most of that is top lane and not too advantageous right now.
Zerker utilizing his opportunity to step forward, try to trade aggressively a little bit into Delight, but the Blitzcrank isn't too bothered by it.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the vision from HLE across the river on both sides of the map. They have all the wards right now. It is full court press for HLE.
Yep, Delight now going to get jumped on by Inspired, who isn't going to full send anything here just yet, but a teleport coming in from HLE. Nice pull from Delight. He's hitting so many of these as Gumayusi tries to save his support. Zeus has already arrived, but Dokla's ready to follow here with a Stand United. Saint also making his way down into the bot lane. Gumayusi barely survived. Saint takes him out, but LYON's in danger. They've already lost Inspired. They've already lost Isles. Zeus in the front line as a raid boss here with the Aatrox. Q3 won't find the target. He heals up with the massive. Zeus still staying alive for now. Triple kill back over to Zeka. HLE making the plays. Saint barely hanging on. Dokla's still alive for now, but Zeus refuses to die. HLE still looking for a little bit more, and Dokla surely has no way out here. LYON staring down the barrel of a nearly impossible scenario. Blitzcrank hook fails. They're still trying to look, but this sequence means an over 3,000 gold lead for HLE.
This top lane god does not bleed. Zeus stays alive with Sundered Sky, with the Omnivamp, and LYON cannot defy him.
And it's by the slimmest of margins here. So many big plays from the HLE members as the initial fight looks like it's going to be pretty good. Inspire gets hooked in and says, okay, we just got to send it on to Gumayusi. Go straight in with the Stand United. They get the taunt flash from Dokla here onto Guma, and they try to burst him down, but then in comes Zeus. The bailout onto Inspire does basically nothing, and now watch this hook in the later end of the fight. Zeus is getting incredibly low. Berserker flashes back, and this hook onto Saint, I think could be game winning because Saint was just about to kill Zeus, but with the hook from Delight, not only does Zeus live, Saint dies, and that might be the backbreaker right there.
The predict by Zeus on the flash as well. Keeps him in range for this under sky proc that lets the light keep him safe. HLE, the slimmest of margins, but those margins are growing. A 4,000 gold lead. Inspired running as Saint may be left here.
Delight with a 90% win rate on Blitzcrank in his career, and you can see why here in this game, landing so many hooks over and over and over. It's such a heaven or hell champion. You hit the hook, you're the MVP. You miss it, you're a cannon minion. And Delight is making so many plays. Your Coinbase gold grind showing another problem here for the LYON side, as Zeus is just such a monster here on this Aatrox.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard for LYON now. Feels like it's that 1% chance you're hoping for, as Saint might just get dove. They're looking.
He clears out the wave. Zeus backs away. Inspire jumps in after Kanavi. Blue smite. Flash away from Kanavi.
Ooh.
And Saint just barely misses, hitting him with the abduct. Kanavi stays safe.
I cannot believe that didn't connect. Just tiny pixels away from maybe finding that kill onto the HLE jungler, but it still means pressure mid. They're getting plates for Gumayusi. They're keeping the pressure bot lane, and Liner scrambling to keep pace.
LYON trying to defend this tier 1 turret here in mid. Kanavi, he's rescued by the McHales from Delight. This Blitzcrank is making such a difference time and time and time again. Kanavi once more, just fine.
I mean, Delight is just playing an absolutely brilliant game with the pressure on him. Elimination series here. There was 2 match points they had to contend with. They barely got by the last one, thanks to a big fight in that top side where they were able to take over. And this time, they were building that incremental gold lead. And again, it is one big fight that feels like it may have got them across the line.
HLE have hit their strides, push in side lanes, control for Zeus and Zeka, the ability to collapse around Gumayusi. This is where HLE have stood tall in the LCK, is the most threatening LCK representative. Rift Herald taken, the eye left.
And now Inspired just getting caught out. Could be in some danger. Stand United trying to keep him alive a little bit longer. Hostile takeover finding a little bit of value here as Kanavi is the first to die. Zeus in the middle of everybody, making some space. Inspired dies to Zeka, and it's the HLE solo laners making the difference again. Zeka finally falls, but he's going to take Saint with him. Gumayusi still hopping around as Delight barely got away. Saint coming back in trying to get something, but Doka will not kill Delight, and only Saint and Isle still stand. Saint can't do anything in a 1v3, and Gumayusi executes him where he stands.
Delight again over the wall. This time it's Dokla pulled into the tower when he thought he had Guma. But these solo laners from HLE are just too damn good.
You can throw every summoner spell on Zeus, but that man is never exhausted. As he flies into the midst of line, he absolutely tears them asunder. Zeka charms Inspired. Zeus dives onto Berserker. The healing is absurd from this Aatrox. There is no taking down this HLE top laner.
They just don't have the damage. He keeps getting the resets, and the bailout from Isles there went onto Saint. You have to think it was meant for Berserker. Maybe that could have bought them a little time. If that expires and the hook doesn't land on Dokla, maybe, just maybe there's a way. But every fight is pushing it further and further out of reach. It's a 7,000 gold lead, the largest of the series. For HLE, it feels like by far.
LYON coming in, trying to see if there's anything they can do, but no, instead, it's just another beautiful pull from Delight. Zeka arrives, Saint dies, the bailout does nothing. HLE pushed to the limit here against LYON, but with the threat of missing finals on the line, they refuse. 8,500 gold lead, HLE 11 kill.
When the chips are down, that's where champions are made, and HLE have them out the wazoo. They are playing out of their mind. Delight, these hooks, this Blitzcrank is defining this series.
It's breaking the back of an entire region here. This Blitzcrank is doing everything for HLE. And Zeus, with not a kill to his name, is 1.5k ahead. He's a brick wall in the top lane. they've got no healing debuffs for him in the fights. They're just so far behind. They're grasping at straws, trying to find a way in. But it's going to take a series of miracles for them to even have a chance.
They have Bramble Vest on Dokla, but Bramble Vest is passive healing reduction. You have to hit him. There's no reason for Zeus to ever be doing that in these big fights. Sure, you can hit him with Qs, but there's no reason to ever hit an auto attack, so you just can't stop the regeneration.
And it's going to be harder to kill the squishies as well. Gumayusi picking up that Warden's Mail. He is going to be fairly tanky as LYON continue the pressure, but HLE will keep evading.
I mean, LYON are just going to keep full sending it. They know that you're 10K down. You cannot play the game normally.
Yeah.
They're trying to overload one side of the map. They're hoping that HLE gets sloppy, that they can get kill after kill after kill. But here comes HLE.
Yep, Delight finds another beautiful pull. Inspired, about to die. The Stand United tries to keep him alive, but no, Delight with the execution. Zeus arrives, wings spread wide, and LYON will be buried in the enemy jungle. 3 already dead as Saint and Dokla have to try to escape. Gumayusi, Delight, and Zeka chasing after Saint. No matter how good his Silas is, there's no way out. Dokla trapped beneath 2 turrets is the only man left standing on LYON. And HLE get 5 for nothing.
There's no coming back for LYON. 20 minutes on the clock, an 11,000 gold lead. Immediate turn to Baron. HLE want the rematch with Billy Gaming.
And I think they're about to get it here. 20 minutes in, as you said, Baron, an 11,000 gold lead, and LYON can find no purchase in this game. They bet it all on their ability to withstand the onslaught that would be the early game here against HLE, but HLE in those critical fights just played better.
And you have to feel for Inspired. This man has pushed the LCK.
Oh, you have to feel for Berserker as well. Even tried to use the exhaust, but Zeka, he's so far ahead, he just instantly deletes the LYON AD carry.
And we get to see the replay here. Inspired on the ward, actually not even on a ward. There it is. Doesn't decide that he needs to back away, thinks he's got the support of LYON, thinks he's got that Shen ult. But everyone from HLE shows up. He falls only to watch the rest of his team go with them.
Yeah, and Isles trying as best he can, trying to keep Berserker alive. LYON are full sending it, and they know they would rather go out fighting, but they have to see the writing on the wall. They have to know that this one is one fight from ending. HLE pushing, they're trying to get gold on the map.
The writing is on the turrets now as Berserker is forced to ult immediately. Delight forcing out that critical defensive ultimate from the enemy AD carry as the bottom lane inhibitor is destroyed 21 minutes into the game. HLE now putting pressure on the mid lane. Second inhibitor about to fall. Delight looking for another pull. Instead just gets the knock up onto Dokla as HLE dog piles in. Dokla's first to die, but he will not die alone. Inspired joins him as LYON panic and run back to the fountain. HLE will rise to the occasion. They will chase down the last kill in the fight. Zeus will not even fall. North America's dreams are dashed in Daejeon. LYON are vanquished. HLE